Morning, guys. Long time no see. Here we are, back. We survived. We survived yesterday. We're still not sleeping quite right, but we slept enough. So, back to the darkest dungeon. It's been a while. I kind of vaguely remember we were doing stuff. that's about the extent of it. So, perhaps a little bit later, we'll talk about the trip once we have a few more people in channel, so we don't have to do it, over and over again throughout the day. But suffice to say, it was
welcome back.
Really pleasant
Your
trip.
steadfast loyalty is greatly appreciated.
Ismeraldio, 9 months. Thank you for the resub. I'm glad to see I still have some subscribers left. This is the longest I've ever left for a vacation while I've been streaming. So has me a little bit worried.
Quitters never win.
Welcome back, Andrew was here. Thanks for the resub. Oh man. All right. So what do we have left? Where are we? And why am I getting pop-ups about stuff? Why was I doing that? Honeymoon was great. Honeymoon was really good. Alright, let's take a look. So something's changed. There was a small update when I was gone. I don't think I had much in the way of gameplay balance, but I think it said something about only having to turn this off like once now. And now it will save tutorials being off for the rest of the stuff. Should be great. And quest and embarkation warnings.
Welcome back. Your steadfast loyalty is greatly appreciated.
Welcome back, Jerry Carver. 6 months. Thank you very much. If I come back as a faceless, there's only one way to find out, and I have no idea what that is. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Oh god. It's supposed to be on silent. It is on silent. Why is it fucking making noise? I don't know. Deck-based stagecoach? Don't know. Don't know. Need an officer is what we need. Probably a QED. Okay, so what the hell are we doing? We have a fair chunk of our guys to level 5. And actually a fair chunk of them to level 6. So we are basically ready for... Holy shit. We're basically ready for Darkest Dungeon.
You have returned.
Welcome back to Alu. 95 level 5 shambler. Nope, nope, not that time. The worries and scurvy, always nice. I think we are leveling plague doctors. That rings true. The problem is all of my strategies for Darkest Dungeon have gone out the window during this. So we have a fair number of level 6s. That's who we're waiting on, these two. So we do need to do at least some more level 5 missions right now to level these two to 6. Particularly Nikov. Okay. You know how you always forget something on a trip? When you're preparing for a trip, you always forget to do something. I forgot to set up. I did the descriptions, the tags, and the thumbnails for a new EU4 series that was supposed to start releasing when I left town. And I forgot to set up the release dates, which kind of pissed me off. I just realized this today, too. Didn't do a whole lot of checking emails and stuff over the course of this vacation. I just was pretty much off the grid. Had a really, really good time, but it disappeared. Is that a moon ring? Oh man, I just got excited. No, double sun rings. Continuing the troll. Understandable, I guess. Okay, so what then are we doing? We're running some level 5s. We're gonna try not to get crushed. Do we have a target? Oh, a 3rd sun ring. Ah, game. Troll. A 4th sun ring. Are you fucking kidding me? So right now, I have available to me on this turn, this week, I have 4 sun rings available. And 0 moon rings again. So probably this makes the most sense. The medium length level champion dungeon. But doesn't really get me the Plague Doctor leveled easily. Plague Doctor in the Warrens is pretty bad news. And we could go do this one. So just level up the wield. Yeah. Let's sell. What is it?
We've got our van.
Oh, I see. Forgot about that one. Okay. So probably what we're doing is we're going to the Cove. Makes the most sense to level our remaining Witch Doctors, Plague Doctors. And yes, I could have used a Plague Doctor yesterday. It would have been quite helpful. And we have other guys that could be leveled. Halu needs to level. Do I need 2 of them? I'm not entirely sure. Certainly, yeah, certainly we don't have actually a lot of guys leveled who I would like to have leveled. So I guess it's time to start thinking about who we're bringing on each of the Darkest Dungeons. It looks like I have started to do that. That is the one good thing about writing all this shit down. The bad thing is I didn't leave a pen in here. 2 seconds, guys, right back. All right. So, we had it mapped out. Supposedly we're bringing a Crusader, a Plague Doctor, a Vestal, and a Houndmaster to DD1. That sounds terrible. Why would I bring a Houndmaster to DD1? And what is the Houndmaster, or what is this? What is that class supposed to be? Highwayman? Oh, Highwayman. That is a thing. We only have the one Highwayman, right? Decent skills. Bring that, we lose the stun in DD1. And we lose some of the healing. What's the crow icon in the wheel? It's the Screecher. So we are bringing the Hound for sure in DD2. I'm kind of on the fence about DD1 if I want a Hound or a Highwayman. Hound is worse on the boss, but better on all of the stuff up to the boss. Highwayman is so good on that boss fight though. With unparalleled finesse plus plus riposte. So I could potentially level this. And who am I bringing to babysit? Man-at-Arms. That last Man-at-Arms we haven't leveled. That means we're not leveling a Hound right now. But it's got to be 2 more missions to get the Highwayman to level 5 anyways. Level 6 if I want to bring him, and if I want to bring him on the first mission. So really it is a decision right now. Do I want to bring Highwayman or do I want to bring Hound on DD1? So I'm looking at DD1 with something like this. Here's my Crusader. I know I've got one. Something like... Vestal. I have Vestal. So what's the last one? Plague Doctor. I suppose I don't have to bring a Plague Doctor to DD1. It's just always been so good for us. So something like that. It's going to be low on stuns. We have 1 million recovery matches though, so we can probably just Inspire and Cry all the way down every single time. It's going to be slow and painful. But the Crusader's good on the last boss fight. You don't have guard there though. I think that would get us there though. DD1 is annoying. And it can be hard if you get really unlucky with crits, but it's generally not super, super hard. It's just going to make for really, really long recovery fights. But, get the mechanic in there. So, alright. Good to know, good to know. So if that's what we're bringing, we need to level. So, alright. Long story short, let's bring classes that we need to level. Which are you? All of our healers are 6. Scouting chance in the code.
Welcome back. Your steadfast loyalty is greatly appreciated.
Ghost on the Wire, 6 months. Thank you very much for the resub. Do some of you guys think I wasn't coming back? I was gone a long time. I definitely was gone a long time. Does it matter who? Slayer, Tough, Draw, Manslayer, Cove Tactician. Doesn't really matter. Let's bring the Coast Grounder, I suppose. About 10 years of internet time? I'd say that's fairly accurate. Nearly 2 full weeks of streaming missed. That's so much. I was hoping to be back for yesterday, but it just wasn't a thing. This was not capable of streaming yesterday. There would have been far too many interruptions. Alright, the thing is I would also like to level Billy. And I would also like to level other guys too. What is this? Wheel Tactician, Stout, Unholy Slayer, Beast Slayer, on guard. Well, that's actually the guy I want to bring. So let's throw him in position 1, or position 2 rather, and then we have position 1. There's no stress healer in this group. Crusader. Wish my Crusader ended up with some slightly better abilities. Alright, I mean that will get us through the dungeon. It's not exactly ideal for anything else, but once I level the Plague Doctor, I have to have 2 of these Plague Doctors. And we have to have 2 Men-at-Arms as well, so I have to level the other Men-at-Arms. If I do it this way, I mean we have a lot of weeks right now still. And we still got 20 weeks. And all we have to do is beat the Darkest Dungeon and then come back for the bosses afterwards. And once we beat the Darkest Dungeon, there's time limits removed. So I'm not in a hurry. So I can be a little bit greedy with the leveling. Well, not greedy. It's really playing it safe. It's kind of the opposite of greedy. But I can be a little bit slower on the leveling if I want to. Thing is, I do need these other characters to level 6 at some point. Particularly, I need Billy, as well as our second Plague Doctor, and some other things like that. All right, but it's just hard to level Jester. I can't run Jester plus these other 2 at the same time. It just wouldn't work. And what do I want about this? I want that. Because I think I want this stunner in the back. Okay, so we're gonna run it like this. Okay. All right, so this is what we're bringing. Let's go take a look at diseases and the rest of it. Oak Dragon's got the worries that needs to go. Disease treatment cost. Could do.
Curious methodologies and apparatus can calm even the most
That's
tormented
the excess
soul.
scurvy. Anyone else pick up shit we wanted to get rid of? Off guard could go. We want to lock in protection. 8k, 7.5k. Probably not. Hylomania could go. Alright, on Solitaire. Let's take care of that. 3% crit if HP below 50%. No. Alright. Take a look at everyone's gear. And let's take a look at everyone's upgrades. Did I just do that? I think I just did that. And how are we doing on main WC in terms of skills? So I could run elimination on this, but I think she's actually going to be useful as a stunner here. She doesn't have on guard or something stupid, right? No, good. Okay, that looks pretty good to me then. Alright, so it's trinkets and go. First time in the dungeons in a couple weeks. Alright, I want him going faster for stress heals. Although we have a plague doctor, it's not actually that, well, it's a little bit critical. Alright, so first up is our highwayman, then our plague doctor, and then our healer. Like some scouting. Do we have double scouting items right now? We do. I could just run a healing item though, that'd be fine as well. Or fucking groupers. I'm not gonna be dodge tanking this. I would like speed here. Stun chance and speed, not terrible. Would be nice. And oops. So what's our second item here? Stun chance maybe. So we can double stun stuff. And then second item here, do scouting. Certainly more scouting would be good. Do I have a way to get damage? I do. Bleed resist, damage versus Eldritch. I might just do Eldritch damage. I think I prefer just pure Eldritch damage to that. It's kind of hilarious. I don't want the minus 10% HP. Like, bad enough that I'm willing to give up 30% bleed resist. It seems kind of ridiculous. I do have a bleed cure. Also on my stunner though. But I have 2 stunners. Alright. So that's probably what we're bringing. Let's just make sure I have disorienting blast here. And what do we actually want to run for skills? We want Noxious Blast, Plague Grenade, Battlefield Med,
Critters
Blast.
never win.
We'd like Wicked Slice, Pistol Shot, Tracking Shot, Duelist Advance. Heals are in, the rest of it's good. Well, hello there. 12 months. Thank you back. Thank you for coming back. Welcome back. And he says, I hope your trip was great and the food was amazing. The trip was great. The food in Thailand was not very good, surprisingly. I think it was because we were in a very touristy area of Thailand. But the food in Singapore was really good. So, half and half. We're going to talk soon about that. Enough viewers are waking up that we'll probably do some chatting about the vacation in a moment. If you guys are curious. Okay, so the only thing we're missing here is a second scouting item. And unfortunately, I don't think anyone here can run a second scouting item. So I think we're just going to run with map and Coast Grounder for 35% scouting. Which really isn't all that much. I guess we have another one, 45%. All right. We have a camping skill. Okay, so this is who we're bringing. We got the stuff. We got the dungeon. Let's go. It's been a long build up for this. Some of those, some of these, some of these, some of these. Looks good. Sure, looks good. All right, let's do it. I might make it to Australia at some point. It's on the kind of to-do list of places I'd like to go, but
The smell of rotting fish is
I'm gonna
almost
say,
unbearable.
turns out that side of the world's really fucking far away. I spent the first 72 hours of my trip traveling. 72 hours. Granted, we got screwed on flights.
Finding the stuff is only the
But that
first
is
test.
a fuck ton of
Now
traveling
it
to do.
must be carried home.
And it was a really unpleasant 72 hours of traveling. Although on the way back, we left from...
Welcome back. Glittering
Your
gold,
steadfast
trinkets
loyalty
and
is
baubles.
greatly appreciated.
welcome back, Momo the Mo.
Blood.
So many people talking. Wayne talking to me twice. 7 months. Thank you very much for the resub. The way back was kind of funny. We left Japan at 6 p.m. Local time. And then I arrived in Chicago at 4 p.m. the same day, local time, or 3:30. So we actually traveled back in time in, on that one, which was quite amusing to me. So. It's 18 hours, Australia to Texas, but flying back, right? Alright. We've got the crab plus the Tide Master, showing us why we can't run missions without stress heals, because look, 49 stress right off the bat, because why not? Alright, what do we wish to do for this? We wish to make it so this guy doesn't have a round.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Confirmed time traveler indeed. I'd say that's guaranteed. Alright, we could probably double stun here. Set up for some crab recovery, because we're at 54 stress off the first attack off the first mob of the first fight of the dungeon, which is kind of hilarious to me. Maybe if we don't bring stress healing, we'll be fine, right? And stack up crit percentage off that. Alright. Let's see, we're at 180 viewers right now. Let's wait till, I don't know, like 200, and then we'll chat about the trip. So we don't end up doing that a couple times in a row today. Alright, let's get this initial stress down. Let's have the crab not crit me. Seems reasonable. No crits, crab, no crits. Alright. I can start doing some damage, I think. What, 4 rounds of stress healing left?
Well struck.
Why? That's kind of weird. Why is with 20 stress? They both have the same amount of stress. They both have the same amount of total stress. Why does this guy have 1 dot on his bar and this guy have 2 dots? Makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. Oh, I should have stunned there. I don't know why I didn't stun there. Yeah, has a lot of health. 104 health, huh? So we can start doing a little bit of damage to him. Since we're basically recovered.
Quitters never win.
Quitters never win. Welcome back, Sun in Exile. 12 months. Thanks for the resub. Good old crabs. If I can kill it, I don't think I can. No, I definitely cannot. Alright, don't crit me, grab, and then don't bleed me. But you can bleed me, but just don't crit me. That's perfect. Just do that. Look how they wither and die. That means it's a crit, right?
The ground quakes.
Cool.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
We have a holy water. Oh, this isn't the holy water one though. Alright, what is this? This is a caster in the back. Causing unbelievable amounts of stress. Fantastic, 33. The grouper up front could be a pain in my ass.
Impressive.
Just throw a stun. Try for another stun here. Good, I guess. Could duelist advance again there. Maybe kill the witch before it acts. That'd be really good. Okay, it's dead now. Could dot again or could stun. I'm hoping that would do more damage than it just did. Oh well. Ouch.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
Alright. Here's our first enemy crit on us. A lot of stress. Creeper. Being annoying as always. Wow, what happened to my speed rolls?
Precision and power.
My guys are pretty quick. It's kind of surprising that all my guys just went last there. He's not quite dead to the dot. He's a little tiny bit more damage. That means I can't remove this dot though, and I kind of want to remove that dot. It's a big dot. Could tracking shot that guy. That would put him at death. Kill him. No. Death's door? No, thankfully.
As the fiend
Very nice.
falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Not a lot of time for recovery there, unfortunately. Thank you, Mr. Bunnyman. Alright, which is faster? Speed 8, speed 7. He's dead to the dot though, so let's do damage there.
Their formation is broken.
Really nice if I went next.
Maintain the
Nice.
offensive.
Okay. Not perfect.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
Alright, do I want to camp? Not really. A little bit low on HP, I suppose. Guess I could take the buff without camping. I guess I could come up this way and get the buff on the way back and camp after this small room. Let's do that. Alright. Why doesn't my Plague Doctor have Blinding Flash? Because I'm using other skills. Other skills I prefer for this. I don't actually like Blinding Flash very much. It seems really good on paper, but it's rare that I want to use it. Because most of the time I'd prefer to stack dots in the early cloud. Okay, well, we get plenty of recovery. Although we have to deal with this ghoul to begin with. It needs to be stunned out of existence as soon as humanly possible. Okay. knew that was gonna go first. I fucking knew that was gonna happen. Bull could actually kill me here. Good crit, good crit.
A kind gesture.
Donations! We like donations. Carfax donates $5 and says, hello, friend. Thank you very much for the donation, mate. Alright, what are we doing about these guys? Stun the crab? Stun the ghoul? We killed the ghoul this turn? It was unlikely. Let's stun the ghoul again. Can't hit the ghoul now. It's not exactly ideal. Hopefully we can stun the crab, though. Oh, he just resisted. Unlucky.
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
Wow. Alright, crab. Get him off death's door. Round just got really bad. Alright, we really need to kill this guy, but he's totally in the wrong position. So, I guess we're not. That stunned my damage dealers. So this damage dealer got tasked with healing. This damage dealer got stunned. It's just not a good round for me. I mean, we have plenty of recovery versus the crab. We just have to get to it. Thankfully.
Size alone does not
We get wreck command. I think that's the default command here in this game. I should probably get rid of this dot. Such a large amount of damage. Probably should have been a stun there.
How quickly
Okay, another crit from the crab. All right, well, let's talk about the trip. So we got some recovery rounds to go. So the trip was my honeymoon. We did Thailand and Singapore. The trip was supposed to be a day in Singapore, followed by 4 days in Thailand, followed by 2 days or 2.5 days in Singapore on the way back. That was supposed to be the trip. Our flight, so the flight path was Chicago to California, then a couple hour delay, like 2 hour delay, then California to Singapore directly. And then we would have a day there, and then the morning of the day after we arrived in Singapore, we would fly to Thailand, we'd switch airlines to do that. What ended up happening is flight was on time from Chicago to San Francisco, except when we got in the runway, we just sat on the runway, and we sat on the runway for about 20 minutes, and then they told us, you know, there were some storms in between, and storms in between across the Midwest, so they were going to be rerouting us, so we needed to wait a little bit longer, and then after we waited like another, like they said it was going to be 10 minutes, and it ended up being, I think, another hour. At that point, they taxied back to the gate and told us they were going to path us around these storms, in which case they needed to get more fuel to do that. And if we wanted to get off the plane now, we could. They had to offer us that, but at that point, we were still had the window, still going to make our flight, still okay. And then we taxied back out away from the fucking gate, and we sat on the runway for another hour. Basically, they told us, I think twice, it would be like 10 minutes, and we ended up spending 2.5 hours on the runway. So we missed our flight. So we landed in California, and we missed our connecting flight to Singapore by, I believe, 20 minutes, which was pretty great. So when we arrived there, our flight was, we had 3 options when we got there. The first option was this was the option that they recommended. This is what happened. Our flights when we arrived there had been rerouted already, and the route they wanted to put us on was there was a flight leaving from San Francisco to Chicago that was going to leave in 20 minutes after we landed, or a half hour after we landed. So they wanted to put us directly back on the same fucking airline, the same flight we had just taken from Chicago to California, back from California to Chicago, because apparently there was a flight that was going to leave for Singapore the day after there. So that was our first option. And that was like the most defeating, like the worst feeling ever, right? You're sitting there, you've just started the trip, you've just flown for like 6 or 7 hours, of travel time, 2 hours of delays, plus like 5 hours of flight to get across country, and they're wanting to send me immediately back from there to where I started from. In which case, I would have got there the day after I left. I would have arrived at like 9 or 10 in the morning, and the flight to Singapore was going to leave at like 2 in the afternoon. So what I would have done is got back to O'Hare, driven home, now been 24 hours later, but having traveled for all 24 of those hours, waited for a couple hours and driven back to the airport. So that was option 1. That was pretty great. Pretty great. Option 2 was we could wait a full day in the airport and take the flight that we had just missed, take it again the next day. So that would be a full 24-hour wait in wherever the hell we were in California. I think it was San Francisco. And then the third option, which is the one we ended up taking, was they'd put us up for a night in a hotel, and we could take a earlier flight out. And the earlier flight out was going to be to China, and then we'd get a connecting flight from China to Singapore, and the overall time, the timing would be pretty bad. It would put us in the airport at 1 a.m. in Singapore, with our connecting flight to Thailand leaving at 10 a.m. Or 12, maybe it was 12 a.m. with connecting flight 11 a.m., something like that. We'd have about 10 or 12 hours in the airport. So that's the option we took, and I think we took it, in retrospect, I think I would have taken the wait 24-hour one. But we had just got screwed on a connecting flight, and if we'd taken the wait for 24-hour option, we would have potentially, the window between when we landed and when our next flight took off was only going to be like 3 hours, and we just missed the flight on a smaller window than that. So we were a little paranoid. Poor old Frigg, the first day of her honeymoon was in tears at the gate, because this was literally the first experience we're going to have with this, is to miss the first night of our honeymoon where we're supposed to go. So that was the start. That was the very first thing we did on that, which was a pretty great start. So we did end up taking that flight. They put us up in a hotel, everyone on our flight, and there were a bunch of people who were connecting to Australia, a bunch of other people going to Singapore. Everyone got put up in the same hotel, and they just dumped us on this one clerk. It was 1 in the morning by the time we got to this hotel, and the clerk there was all by herself. We were in the first third of the line. It took us an hour and a half to get checked in. The poor people in the back of that line, they probably had like a 3 or 4 hour wait to get checked in line after their flight got delayed. So anyways, so that was day 1. that was pretty good. Day 2, we get on that flight, board that flight, and fly to China, and we have a couple hour delay in China, and then from there we land. We fly China to Singapore, and we get into there, and that had we arrive. The Singapore airport is great, right? It's this huge airport, has all these like sleeping lounges where you can get to sleep while you wait on planes if you have long delays. They have like, you can rent showers, there's a ton of food, there's shopping, there's blah blah blah, right? It's supposed to be one of the better airports in the world for being trapped in a layover. Well, 2 things. The first is that may be true, but either you need to know where those things are, or you need to be behind security, and I don't know which is the actual answer for that. Because for us, we arrived there at 1 a.m. Security, or rather, we couldn't get our boarding pass for the next flight because the counter for that wasn't open and wasn't going to open until 6 a.m. And the machines, the automated machines to check us in, were telling us to go see a agent, of course, which there wasn't there. So instead of getting to do any of these things, we were sat behind security. So we're not through security yet, so we couldn't get access to any of these things, and just ended up like sleeping on like hard the kind of hard chairs for sitting and waiting that are not designed for sleeping whatsoever, instead of any of the sleeping lounge or things like that. So that was pretty ideal.
Dizzying
Crab.
blow to body and brain.
Are we recovering off this fight, or just this might just be story time? This crab is just giving us options for story time. So we spent a long ass time in that airport waiting for things to open, and to be fair, once the airport did open, we did get checked in, and once we got checked in, we could go through security, and once we went through security, we were able to find sleeping lounges to sleep in, and that was quite a bit better, and passed the rest of the time till that. The flight to Thailand went off without a hitch, which was nice, so go figure. That was the one we are most worried about, because we'd never flown to AirAsia, and that was the one that went off perfectly without a hitch. Thailand was very, very pretty, although I couldn't get spicy Thai food to save my life, and I actually couldn't get good Thai food to save my life. We went to the Railay area of Thailand, which is a little peninsula that's only accessible by water. So you take a boat over that to there, and it's a tourist area. And we spent time being tourists there. Did some rock climbing there with rock climbing, beaches, a couple trips via boat to check out the islands around the area. All around pretty chill there. The craft beer revolution hasn't hit them yet, which is a little bit unfortunate. So they have like 5 different lagers, and that's like your options for beers. So the first night there, I saw there was they had a Thai whiskey. I'm like, I'll try it. It was on the menu. It's like a Thai whiskey. I'm like, I'll try it. I'm like, can't be too bad. So I ordered a Thai whiskey, and it does eventually show up, and they bring me a bottle of rum. This is Thai spiced rum, and apparently we lost the whiskey in the translation. I don't quite know how that worked out, but it took them like 20 minutes to get to me. So I was just like, fuck it. So I wandered around the first night on the island with a cheap bottle of Thai rum in my pocket as we explored the island. Island is beautiful, or I mean it's peninsula, but we're gonna probably call it an island for that. Absolutely beautiful. They had this spot on the edge of the island in the evenings where the wind would come off. So you're sitting at the edge of an island, or peninsula really, and you can see about 270 degrees of water, just a little bit of land there. And there's a bar at the end, and it's a super chill bar. The island wasn't particularly busy. There weren't a ton of people there. So quiet and chill, and you lie on these kind of like, they're not reclining chairs, they're kind of like pads on these wooden structures, and you're looking out over the water, and you can't really see anything besides the water and the boats out there, and this permanent wind is blowing off the shore, and you're just lying there in essentially paradise with perfect weather, drinking, which is really perfect. Those nights we spent, I think 2 nights ended up like that, where we ended up at that bar, because it was just like the most perfect spot on the island to just chill out and relax, which was really nice. All right, I think we should kill this crab. What do you guys think? We're healing a lot off of it, but I feel like we maybe should actually conclude this fight. Was it an island or peninsula? It was a peninsula only accessible by island, so I keep calling it island because for all intents and purposes it was an island, except it was a peninsula. So how's that? Does that make perfect sense of that for you? Let's toss this, grab the gold. I would like the onyx. How much do I care about the onyx? All right. Probably the favorite day in Thailand was rock climbing. My wife and I both rock climbed, so we...
A resplendent offering. Low on supplies.
Thank you very much, Carfax. Donates $50. It says, hello, friend, times 10. Story time is great. All right, well, we'll continue with story time because it was a fun trip and it's very enjoyable at the moment to talk about. That's a lot of crests. I can't bring any of them home. All right, guess I'm not bringing any of them home. It's bad to throw that out. Favorite day was probably rock climbing day. We rented a guide, and the peninsula area has some really good rock climbing. It's one of the locations to do rock climbing in Thailand, apparently. We did some lead climbing, which is always a little bit scary, but guide was real good. It was so easy. It's the easiest I've ever gotten to rock climbing, like outdoor rock climbing with. Normally, outdoor rock climbing requires a decent amount of hiking, and you're not guaranteed to get good spots and the rest of it. But this stuff was really easy. It was like a walk. It was like a 5-minute walk, well, maybe a 15-minute walk from the hotel. So it's super easy to get there. It was in the shade, which it was so hot in Thailand. I was really expecting to get devastated by the sun, and actually it wasn't too bad. There was, I need to kill this guy. How are we gonna kill this guy? We're gonna duelist advance him. I don't really want to be in position 1 on the highwayman. I guess I'm pistol shotting. It's not my favorite of attacks. Let's get a plague grenade up on the highwayman. I'd like to stun the highwayman. Do I want to stun the highwayman? The man-at-arms is going to be a pain in my ass here, but I can stun the man-at-arms with the Crusader. Damn, we don't want that resist.
A singular strike.
So, did some lead climbing out there, did some top roping out there. The guide was pretty good, pretty funny guy, and spoke enough English that we could communicate easily, which was of course beneficial. Not too much to be said about that, besides it was just really fun. Just a really chill, relaxed climbing day. It was super fun. Got some nice climbs in, got some nice long climbs in, a couple of them. 22 health left here. He's taking 12. If we do 10, what's the range here? 9 to 16. That's pretty good. All right, just high-ended that. Oh, thank you, Moonman. Welcome back. So besides that, a lot of beach portions of that vacation. They had some beautiful pools, beautiful beautiful plant life, stuff like that. So it was just a pretty area. But it was basically a beach vacation, and that was probably the problem with that. If I had to do it again, when I'm able to afford traveling again of that distance and magnitude, I don't think I would do. If I did Thailand again, I don't think I would do that particular location again. Although it was really pretty and kind of fun, it was like a very expensive and very far away beach vacation. And that isn't quite what I want from a vacation there. I felt like I didn't see any of the Thai culture. I didn't see any of the sights of Thailand to see because it was too touristy of an area. Didn't get good food from Thailand, which is crazy. I didn't get spicy food in Thailand, which is crazy. I didn't see a lot of the sights I was kind of expecting to see from that. So I liked Thailand. I had a lot of fun there. It was very relaxing, but I feel overall, I don't know if I would do it. I think I would do it differently next time. And I think I'd do more of the climbing, honestly. Like, we had so much fun with that. I wish I had done it a couple more times. I wish we had gone maybe 2 or 3 times climbing instead of the one time we did. So my spouse got what she wanted. Yeah, I mean, but I think her favorite day was the rock climbing too. So nice. That was actually a really good attack for us. He sets this up again. I think we're just gonna keep stunning the annoying guys like there, so they don't heal the guy himself. Keep nuking him. Our Vestal has been critting nonstop. Okay, head games doesn't matter here though, because he's got a lethal dot on him, so that's taken care of. Now we can just stress recover here. So that worked out pretty well.
A death by inches.
All right, so that was Rayleigh, and I have to say, as a whole, Rayleigh was fun. The Thai food was very cheap in Thailand. But alcohol was pretty much, I wouldn't say normal price, a little bit less than I pay in the States probably for most of the actual food element of it, or excuse me, the alcohol element of it. But the alcohol wasn't very good in that location. So that was kind of so-so. We had a couple days of that, and when we left Thailand, I was ready to go. Like, we were there, I think 4 days or 3 days, and on the last day, I was ready to go do something else. So we went from Thailand to Singapore. And we had 2 full days in Singapore. I think it was supposed to be 3. We missed one of the days. Singapore was awesome. Singapore is a really cool city. I'm not a huge fan of large cities in general. I live by Chicago to give you kind of some comparison. And I'm all right with Chicago. I go downtown for things like really fancy food. I go downtown for things like events, like concerts or festivals of sorts. And I'll go downtown, for airports and things like that. So certainly the location of it is nice. Some cultural events perhaps. But in a large part, I don't do too much in the city because the city is extremely expensive. It's extremely busy. It's not super easy to get to between traffic and or the rest of it. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And honestly, I'm not just a huge fan of cities in general. I don't like the million people around me. I don't like the grime, the kind of massive humanity together. And Thailand was probably, or not Thailand, excuse me, Singapore was maybe my all-time favorite city I've been to. And I can't remember falling this much in love with the city since I was a kid and I visited Paris. And I'm like, as a kid, I was like, oh, I want to live here. And as an adult, I don't think I would like to live in Paris. But as an adult, I kind of want to live a little bit. Parts of me want to. There are parts of Singapore I liked enough that I kind of want to live there. So Singapore is extremely clean. Has amazing public transportation to get around. We got a tourist pass on the subway that also included buses, and we could get anywhere in the city from that, which was awesome. The city itself has gone out of its way. The planners who the infrastructure there have gone way out of their way to make it so that
fills you with determination.
Their botanical gardens was incredible. There's these walkways that run across parts of the city where you can kind of explore parts of the wilderness in the city, which is just really, really nice. So we did a ton of hiking around. Well, it's in the city. It's not really hiking. I don't know. Tons of wandering around the city. Botanical gardens were amazing. My wife was absolutely in love with that, and I think she could have spent about 3 days there given a chance. Hey, Soda Lithium, thanks for the sub. All right, what are we doing here? We are stress healing as we're telling stories. So we're almost done, though, with that. We're doing a fair job of multitasking here. You think this is an annoying fight? Oh, this fight's fine. We've got what we want now from this. So did that, and then we were there for the food. The thing about Singapore I didn't know is that their alcohol prices are
Magnanimous
absurd.
dispensation.
Violators preempting this. Thank you, V. Cheers, man. You didn't have to do that, V. Thank you. There are some pros and cons to this. So Singapore has a very high alcohol tax, apparently. And what this means is a number of things. But one of the things it means is your alcohol is super expensive. All right, it's kind of annoying. One of the things it means is that there's no difference in price between high-end alcohol and low-end alcohol. So I was sitting there we did a round. So you guys know Galg, he's one of the viewers in this channel. He's a longtime supporter of the stream. He lives in Singapore, so we met him there. He showed us a lot of the city. I think I ate 7 meals in Singapore, and all 7 of them were foods that I had either never tried before or don't have access to. Some of it was Chinese food, some of it was Singaporean food, some of it was Malay food. One of it was a home-cooked meal from a culture that I didn't grow up in, so the food was very different, and just had this incredible food experience all together. But anyways, Galg is from Singapore, and we did 2 dinners with him, and one of them was at his family home, and got to meet his family, and did a sake class with him. So we did the guy came out to Galg's house and brought a bunch of sakis, and we did an evening of kind of sitting over sakis and chatting and dinner and the rest of it. And it was just an amazing time. Really, really cool. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Multitasking. All right, so where were we? Singapore, beautiful city. Lots of cool things to do. Really good food. Really expensive alcohol. So to just give you an idea, all right? So we went to one bar there on our last night there, and we were killing time. My wife didn't want to leave, so on the very last night we were there, we had finished dinner, and we were probably given a choice, I would have had a couple of drinks and gone back to the hotel, but she wasn't having any of it. She wanted to stay up. Our flight was at 4 a.m. and she wanted to stay up all night long until 4 a.m. so that her honeymoon didn't have to end, so she could just continue the experience of there. So we after dinner went to a bar, and I dragged Galg to a bourbon bar because I was feeling the lack of decent alcohol at this point, and we did a round of drinks there, and Singapore dollars are about 70% of US dollars, so you can multiply it by like you can think of having it twice, and you're roughly on track for what the value is, U.S. dollars to Singapore dollars. Having it twice and subtracting rather. So it basically thinks 70%. To get a shot of whiskey, sipping whiskey, was 19 Singapore dollars per one, and a beer, just a regular, it was a decent beer, but it's a beer in a, it's a beer in a bottle. It's not even a draft beer. It's just a bottled beer. Was 18 Singapore dollars. Like, I don't know how anyone in that culture manages to get drunk. Either they're all extremely wealthy, or they have some trick I don't know about for that. Because the cost for beer, the cost for alcohol is just absurd.
Firelight. An uneasy companionship.
On track with New York City prices? Well, more than, that's drinking downtown Chicago, which is expensive, is not, that's more than drinking downtown Chicago by quite a bit. Now, the plus side was the lowest quality whiskey was probably 18 Singapore dollars, while the highest quality, I think that was Woodford Reserve whiskey in Singapore, was 19 Singapore dollars. So, on some level, the only benefit of that ridiculously high tax is it takes away all the variance in alcohol pricing, because the majority of the price of that alcohol is actually the tax as opposed to anything else. All right, what are we running here? We're running Unparalleled Finesse, we're running Sanctuary, and then we have what else? Stand Tall. I can remove Mortality debuff. Sure, I've never used that. Let's remove Mortality debuff. Value.
The light, the promise of safety.
Sounds like I got tourist trapped? No. That was actually just the prices
Secrets
in
and
Singapore were
wonders
just
can be
ridiculous
found in
for
the
going
most
out for
tenebrous
alcohol.
corners of this place.
Now, probably I could have found, I don't know what liquor store prices were, but it's not like we're gonna just like buy a bottle of something. Part of the point of being there was to experience the city and try out the places. And if you're talking about tourists, we had a local guide. We had literally Gallup, who lives in the city, showing us the places he'd recommend and just giving us suggestions. So I don't think we were doing overly. Some of the places we visited, like the Botanical Gardens or the Gardens on the Bay or the top of the Marina Sands Hotel, those places were all very touristy, of course. But I don't think the food places we went to were particularly touristy. A number of them were very small restaurants that I would never have found on my own. They were good, it's just I would never have found them on my own. So I don't think it was just... it's annoying. Didn't get the one I wanted. I wanted the damage buff and I got the stress removal. I don't think it was just tourist prices. I think it was just the alcohol prices in the city. Yeah.
Mind that such missteps are the exception and not the rule.
How much do I think I spent on the trip? I haven't done it yet. I haven't looked at it. I paid for most of the hotels and the rest of that a couple months ago. We've been planning this for a while, so I paid for as much of that as I could up front, and the rest of it I just haven't crunched the numbers on my credit card quite yet. Kind of a little bit hesitant to do it, honestly. I know it's going to be extremely, extremely painful. Wrong order for stress, but it actually doesn't make any difference because I was at 0 stress flying octopus. So, yep. You're correct about the mortality debuff giving me stress healing more, but it made no difference in this particular scenario. Okay, 9% of rooms. We can come down this way. Seems fine. We have a wedding registry for trip expenses. I don't have a wedding registry. We got married in June, so this has been we've been planning this for quite a long time. Flight home was fairly uneventful, thankfully. We flew Singapore to Japan. We had a 3-hour layover in Japan, and then we flew Japan to the United States, actually directly to Chicago, which was great. We left, I think I said this earlier, we left Japan at 6 p.m. their time, and we arrived in Chicago at 3 p.m. in Chicago time on the same day that we left. So that was pretty amusing. Anyways, yeah, so just really cool trip. I would visit Singapore again. I could have used another couple days there. I kind of wish we had done, to be fair, we lost one of our days in Singapore from the flights being delayed like that, but I really would have been happier with I need to do damage to this guy, and if I cycle him to the back position, I might not be able to. And that can happen with his orienting blast, so I think we're going to dot him. Casual 37, one shot. Awesome. Now we can lose the character. Oh, come on. Okay, we just survived the death's door roll, but he also has a dot on him now. It's kind of bad. Okay. You dead, please? Thank you. I would have liked another day or two in Singapore at the very least, just because there was a ton of stuff there that we didn't get a chance to see. Dot cure or stun? I think stun better. And it just felt like we were a little rushed in Singapore compared to what I would have liked to have seen. It's also kind of a nice gateway city. It's really close to a lot of locations. I could have, you know, for example, if I were to go to Australia, we could do Singapore for a couple of days and then Australia at some point. It would be really, really nice. Got a death's door check out of that. It's so crazy. Just the one shot plus another attack. Is this the first round or the second round he's been alone? I think it's the first round he's been alone, right? I think we can stress heal. Even if we can't, even if we get reinforcement stress here, which I don't think we do, it's probably worth it. To spread out the stress as opposed to keeping it focused here.
Promises success.
All right. Dot damage though. Not cool. Not cool. Oh, did I get proposition to smuggle drugs? That's interesting too. So Singapore has immigrations was pretty ridiculous for all of these places, honestly. But Singapore is like a city of rules, and part of the reason, that they have such a nice city is because of this. Like, you can't have food or drink on the subways. There's fines for smoking in lots of different areas. There's fines for gum in lots of areas. Stuff like this, right? Singapore has a death sentence for drugs. And I don't know if this is importing drugs. Oh, I've never encountered this guy. The Squiffy Gast. I bet he's going to be a lot of fun. So if you Google it, Singapore has a death sentence for drugs. So no, we did not get proposition to smuggle any sorts of drugs. And I don't think that would have been very wise anyways. So, yeah. And I was told that I absolutely would be offered prostitutes in Thailand, but I wasn't. Singapore has legal prostitution, but we didn't check that out. Gal claimed to have no knowledge of that, or very little knowledge of that. Okay, he just stress nuked me. We resisted a debuff. And you came to the front. Is he gonna do something really annoying, like jester me? I mean, he's got a musical instrument. He's sitting on a barrel that has potentially explosives in it, but looks like rum. And he's just moved to the front. I don't know what this guy does. Let's take a quick look at what the Squiffy Gas does. Alright, what do you do, Squiffy Gas? Alright, Maddening Shanty. Attack type ranged. Targets any of them. Accuracy. Moves forward and puts up debuffs. Gives you stress. And plus 10% stress until camp. And then he has, from position 4, moves him back 4 from here. It's going to be an AoE nuke. And it's going to give all of us 9 stress and 140% horror for 4 rounds. I don't know what horror is. What the fuck is horror? Horror is a stress over time effect. Represented by a black skull at the beginning of an afflicted hero's turn. They take stress equal to the horror strength. Lasts for a specified number of turns. Does 5 stress and it lasts for 4 rounds. and it can be stacked up on top of itself. Well, that's going to be annoying. So he's going to put an AoE debuff on us for all of our guys for 20 stress. We have a Guardian here. It's going to be like a 100-round fight. Any other stories you guys want to hear? Because this is going to be ridiculous in a minute. %15% stun resist. This is 139.30. So we're at 169. So 69 minus 15 here is 54% chance to stun. That's not real good. I think I would rather kill this. He's not dead to the dot yet. I'd like him to be dead. Which airline did I fly? We flew United there and back, although... we flew United there and back, and Air Asia while we were in that area. United used their, they're part of an alliance, so the alliance for United pushed us off onto one of the Japanese airports, like ANA I think was the flight back from that area. Don't guard him. Don't be a piece of crap. Annoying. See, the only time I ever heard of shanty is an alcoholic beverage. We need to stun him. And this fucking thing has to die before this stress gets out of control. It's kind of out of control already. That's so much stress. No! Oh, he's okay. He doesn't. That's good. That's really good. I thought he would just always AoE that every time he could. Doesn't look like he does. Alright. We now need to spend as long as humanly possible stress healing. Don't crit me. You piece of shit. Don't do it. I knew he was going to do it. Okay, that just gave me an affliction over here. That's super, super annoying. Alright, alright, alright. Drinks a shandy. Okay. Thanks. Alright, guys. Maybe I could just tell the...
Gasping. Taken over the edge.
Maybe I could just tell this... Oh, I can't stun him from this position. Fuck me. Alright. I'm so tempted just to go home on this mission and just stress heal them in town. Dude, I'm still taking stress damage from this. I don't want to stress heal the entire time for the rest of my life. I mean, here's the problem. I need to level the Highwayman. He's actually the character I'm waiting on. I don't really want to give him a week in town. Not to mention, this is just really lame. So that's just a ridiculous amount of stress that just can wipe your party, I guess. I don't know. The stress on this, on Pitch Black with the higher difficulties seems kind of absurd. It feels like it pushes you into really one-dimensional strategies to deal with it. crits, please. It's fine. I've got another fight left.
Gift and frailty finally claim their due.
Maybe. I guess I'm gonna just take 3 times afflictions and try to get out of here.
Success so clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light?
That's kind of ridiculous amount of stress out of that fight. I mean, weren't we at 0 on everybody? I think we were. Could have tossed the shovels, I guess. How do you get through a cove with using 0 shovels? No sense to me whatsoever. Alright, let's hope we don't stress out and die before the end of this fight, end of this mission. I mean, we stress healed to full, too. We took a collector and stress healed to full. We took 2 crab fights and stress healed to full. That means we just 0 to 300 here, so. Alright, it might be possible to dodge this room fight by checking out this room here. At the very least, we dodge the corridor fight. We might have to take 1 fight with 3 afflictions. I really don't want to do that. Doesn't look like we do. Alright. Successful mission. We'll get the levels, but I would have liked to come out of this with less stress.
Despite its morbid aspect, this twisted, cavernous maze seems almost traversable.
Alright. Eldritch Slayer. Nice. It's really good. And Clawder's actually really good here, too. Oh, okay, that's pretty nice.